Our first guest tonight is a celebrated actor, knight, X-Man, and captain of the Starship Enterprise. You can watch him bid farewell to crew and Klingon alike on the final episode of Star Trek Picard tomorrow night on CBS All Access. Please say hello to Patrick Stewart. Well, it's great to have you here, oh Captain, my captain. You're not the only captain we have here tonight.
Really?
Yeah, pretty excited. Captain Pablo is here in the audience tonight. He's got an imaginary starship that he's flying around in.
The real thing. I wonder how he did it.
What
was the show he was in?
All he did, he paid $239 on Amazon, and suddenly he's a captain. Little did you know it was that easy.
It was, wasn't it?
It kind of was.
Yeah, I missed out.
Bill, you remember the last time you were here? The last time you were here, I was not here.
I've been here before.
You have.
With you?
Yes, you've been here with me, but then the last time you were here was March 12th, 2020.
Yeah.
Which may ring a bell to some people because it was like the last show we did in this studio for 7 months. It was the last, when COVID hit, Pete Buttigieg was hosting the show.
Yes.
And he was, the host, and I think you guys became friends after that, right?
We have, yeah. We see as much of each other as we can.
Yeah, you see,
he's a remarkable man.
He did one show and you become his friend. I've done thousands of shows. I've had no contact with you whatsoever. It's interesting. It would be like a cameo type thing where you'd show up for dinner if I pay.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have more in common, I feel like, than you have with Pete Buttigieg. What do you guys talk about? Transportation? I mean, come on.
You know, I don't think we've ever talked about that. One of the things he wants to talk about is Star Trek.
Is Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like an autograph show. You got to go sit there and be questioned about Star Trek.
No, it's, you know, these surprises continue to happen. When you meet someone and as you talk to them, there's something weird about the conversation. And then you realize it's a fan.
Yeah.
He's a famous guy. He may be a scientist or a writer or another actor, but he's a fan. I mean, when I learned several years ago that one of our biggest fans, who never missed a show, was Frank Sinatra.
Whoa! Are you kidding me?
No, I wouldn't do that to you.
Come on.
No.
How did you learn that?
Because my hairdresser, not a word. Well,
that's a good gig.
You know, there's a lot of pressure on Jimmy. He has to respond to what I'm saying. You know, so, thank you.
Yeah, totally.
My hairdresser was also Frank's wife's hairdresser, and she would go out to, you know.
Palm Springs?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I know a lot about Sinatra. Barbara was his wife. He had a place in I grew up in Las Vegas, so I know this stuff.
Did you know Frank?
No, I didn't know Frank. Unfortunately, I never got to know Frank, but the idea that, I wonder if he sang Fly Me to the Moon because of you. I wonder if that had anything to do with it. You know?
All right. He did. You know, okay? That's the deal.
Did you ever you see him?
My hairdresser came in one day and said I had to go down to, to see my client. And we said, well, who was it? And then she told us who it was. And she said, and you know what? He watches every single show that we make. and loves every moment of it.
Did you ever get to meet him or go see him perform or any of those things? No, none of that.
No. But when I grew up in the 40s, 50s, it was a perfect time for hearing that kind of music, that kind of singing, that kind of talent. I mean, I've heard some odd things about Mr. Sinatra from time to time, but but you know, I've always thought, because I've worked with some nasty people over the years.
Like who, for instance?
Who's that you're having on tomorrow night?
Jake Gyllenhaal. Have you had a bad experience with Jake?
Oh. Well, where should I start? He's a lovely guy.
Yes. So you have had bad experiences with some of these people. You said it. I'm just recapping. Yeah.
That was me, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was you.
And yet the work they do is so fine, so sensational, that you forgive it again and again and again. Maybe they need to be unpleasant, unattractive, unappealing, insulting in order to get the work out, because we're all different, aren't we?
Do you have your own Rat Pack? Do you have a gang of famous people that you hang around with and rub elbows with and get hammered?
Sure.
Yeah.
You want to know a few names?
Yeah, sure. Who's in your Rat Pack?
Brent Spiner, Jonathan Frakes.
The group from the show.
Gates McFadden, Marina Sirtis, Lamar Burton.
It's the Starship Gang.
You recognize them?
I recognize their names.
Of course. In fact, just for a serious moment, if we can manage it.
Well, we'll try. I'm still thinking about your hairstylist, but go ahead. I mean, really, that's got to... How much do you pay? You pay this person? Or
I was wearing a toupee, a hairpiece.
Really?
Okay?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I am a hairdresser's dream come true. If it comes to wearing a wig, I've worn dozens of wigs.
Yeah, you kid,
This
no problem.
is not a wig. This is flesh.
That's you.
And a little bit of bone in there. Not a lot, but a little bit.
Well, we'll feel it during the commercial break. And you mentioned your friends, and I don't want to rush by what the serious thing you wanted to say, but what I'd like to do, if you don't mind, is we'll take a break. We'll see a clip from the show, the big finale, and then we'll talk about we'll talk about the whole gang on the Enterprise. Star Trek Picard, the finale is coming up tomorrow on CBS All Access. Patrick Stewart is with us. We'll be right back.
It is confirmed. Your son is the command signal.
The Borg must be amplifying it from somewhere on that cube.
The only way to save the fleet, to save Earth, is to sever that connection. No matter the cost. What began over 35 years ago ends tonight. Mr. LaForge, take us in.
I can't.
Oh, wow, the whole gang is back. We are back with Patrick Stewart. That is Star Trek Picard. The finale is tomorrow on CBS All Access, and it's great to have I know the fans were so excited to have the whole gang, the original gang, back together. Were you equally excited? Was that part of the deal when you signed on?
Can I give you a little background
Please do.
to this? Within weeks of our being together in April, May 1987.
That's when it started, 87.
Yeah. We became a family. It was very important to me. I'd never done a job like that before. I'd never worked in Hollywood before. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I knew was that I was the captain, I was flying the ship, but I didn't want to be, and in some senses I know, I was the leader of the company, but I continually insisted, we are an ensemble. We are not with different degrees of importance and, all of that.
Right.
And that lasted, and one of the outcomes of that was that we became such close friends, every single one of us. There's no exception, which is a little rare.
Very rare, I would think so. That's not how it happened with the original Star Trek cast at all.
Really?
Well, you know, quite famously, like William Shatner and George Takei are not friendly. They don't like each other. You know this. Don't play dumb with me. I know it. But to have all those people and to have such a long... Did you ever imagine you'd still be playing Picard? It's, what is it, 40 years or something? Almost 40 years.
It's, I think, 38 years.
Yeah.
No.
What?
No.
87.
Look.
33 years.
I've
30...
If I've
36
told you
years.
this before, then just stop me. But when I heard that I had to sign a 6-year contract, I said, no, I can't do that. There's a play I'm going to do, and I've got something else lined up. And I was a big squash player in those days. I had a competition. And they said, oh, look, don't worry about that. You're not going to make it even through the first season. You cannot revive an iconic show like Star Trek was. So
they convinced you to stay on by telling you the show wasn't going to work?
Yeah, exactly. This is how smart the people in Hollywood really are.
That's pretty smart.
And they said, you know, come to Hollywood. We'll fly you first class. Get a nice place to live in. Meet maybe some girls. Make some money for the first time in your life, which was true, and then go home.
And that's not how it worked out at all, really. Yeah, I mean, part of it worked out that way.
No, believe me, it is the most important thing that ever happened in my life and my career.
Oh, wow. You see that?
Oh, yeah.
More important than the X-Men?
Yes, because in a sense, I mean, if I'd not done Star Trek, would Bryan Singer have heard of me, and would I have been cast in X-Men? I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's that might have been a spin-off, but we never talked about it. I think that because it touched every corner of my life, I had to suddenly pack a suitcase and move to live in Los Angeles, which I'd only visited a couple of times to do auditions.
Right.
For Star Trek.
Right. Now we have men buying costumes on Amazon trying to, to replicate what you've done here. It's a little weird. Yeah, the whole thing's weird, but it's fun and people love it, and it's a huge part of every Star Trek fan's life. And the big finale, is it emotional? The finale? I mean, I assume it was emotional off camera. Is it emotional on camera?
Actually, it wasn't emotional in that sense, because we were all new characters. Mm-hmm. Yes, we had the same names, but and this was a conversation I'd had before I committed to doing the series. These people had lived for 25 years between the end of Next Generation and the start of this show. Mm-hmm. And we change in 25 years. We're impacted by all kinds of being alive on this planet. And we all had different issues. And these were important issues. And what became clear to Jean-Luc, who was a little bit sad, a little bit lonely, a little bit disappointed with how things had turned out, was that he needed some reliable, trustworthy, brave colleagues. And he called on them one by one. And they came, they showed up. And he went to help out Dr. Crusher because she was in a real fix.
Yeah.
And so we weren't the same people. And that's what made it absolutely worthwhile and made every day interesting to shoot, because we were having to explore, but how would a man who had lived another 25 years that we only know a few things about that we've made up, how would he live? Who would he be now? I'm not the same man I was 27 years ago.
You're still bald.
I'm still bald.
Which is smart, by the way. Go bald early and you never look old.
You think so?
I think so.
Oh, you are so smart, Jimmy.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
That's...
I wish you would have me over for dinner like Pete Buttigieg. I'm envious. And listen, I'm not the Secretary of Transportation, but I have a lot of good qualities. All right? Think about it, okay?
Yeah, well, I'll think about it. I'll ask my wife.
Yes, and talk to LeVar Burton, too. He'll vouch for me.
Okay, yeah.
Please, thank you. I don't
Done
think he
deal.
will, but thank you.
Your evidence witnesses.
It's so great to have you here. The Star Trek Picard finale tomorrow on Paramount Plus. I thought it was CBS All Access. No, is that wrong? What did I get wrong? It's
CBS All Access just changed to Paramount Plus.
Oh, while we were talking? Yeah. Wow. All right, watch Paramount Plus. Patrick Stewart, we'll be back. Thank you. With Prison Everett.